Welcome to Phenomenal Private Practice with Amira, a place where I discuss mental health topics and answer questions on mental health and private practice building. So today is part 2 of my 3-part series on toxic marriages. So the next question, the next thing that I want to answer and talk about in terms of a toxic marriage is, what are the effects of a toxic marriage? And here are the 4 most common effects of being in a toxic marriage. Number 1 is physical, mental, and emotional health effects, right? The ongoing and unrelenting stress of being in a toxic marriage just really takes its toll on people, right? There are physical effects like weight gain or loss, developing or worsening of health issues like hypertension, diabetes, depression, anxiety. A toxic marriage is incredibly stressful. So you'll see these effects both physically and mentally. You may also end up feeling bad about yourself, or the person who's on the receiving end of the abuse and most of the unhealthiness will end up feeling bad about themselves, develop low self-esteem due to the ongoing sense of failure, that somehow they have failed because they could not make this marriage work. That, coupled with what's probably happening, which is a power imbalance in the relationship, it really just begins to take its toll, along with the emotional abuse. So you're going to see, again, physical, mental, and emotional health effects. That's the first effect that you'll see as the result of being in a toxic marriage. Financial effects, right? This power imbalance may leave one of these people in a position where they're agreeing and they're making decisions that are not in their best financial interests. They may be over their head in loan payments. They may be agreeing to an overly expensive home, a car, credit card bills, vacation travel, things they cannot afford just to appease their partner and try to enjoy some little bit of happiness with this partner who's never satisfied and never quite happy, right? And I hate to say it, but this isn't always necessarily a bad thing, right? Having to go into a massive financial problem, a huge debt, as a result of a relationship can be a wake-up call to really help somebody figure out that they have to get out of this relationship, that this is not doable and not tolerable, right? Relationship challenges, that's a third effect, right? So that person who is, again, on more of the receiving end of mistreatment and has less of the power in that power imbalance in that toxic relationship, they're going to have other relationship challenges, right? Other relationships play 4th and 5th fiddle, while the toxic marriage takes up role 1, 2, and 3 in terms of primary relationships, right? And the ongoing drain and just the strain of that toxic marriage does not leave space to build and to maintain those other relationships. So you're going to see other relationship challenges, friends, family members, others that have been key to you. Those relationships and the value of those will start to crumble as this person that you're in this relationship with wants to have more control. And you also just have less time and energy to give to maintaining these other relationships. The mess of your toxic marriage can just take up that much space, okay? Next, you're going to see career challenges, right? And again, this is with the person who is on the receiving end of more of the emotional and verbal financial abuse, and who has less of the power, right? So you, the person who has less of the power, will not have the time to develop your career the way that you may want to, have a lot less energy, a lot less ability to focus on things, a complete lack of support. And all of these situations deplete you and leave you not being your best self. So dreaming and chasing career goals just is no longer an option. Many people who are in a toxic marriage find themselves unable to even create a vision for themselves for quite some time, and even after leaving a toxic marriage. So one of the key things that I want to think about and just say, at the end of all of this, is just take your time and tell your clients to take their time. It takes a minimum of 2 years to get to really know a person, and you want to be able to rule out any sort of deep-seated characterological disorders, right? Like anything on that narcissism spectrum you want to be aware of and hopefully avoid. So please continue to comment, send me your questions, and we're going to move on, and I'm going to give you the next part of this. Take care.